Ain't quite to the top, but I like to change it before it gets up there. May as well, you know, it's called preventive maintenance, not wait till it breaks and then maintain it. So, changing my fuel filter, go ahead and get the new filter, gaskets, all that stuff ready. And then you can see it's about, I'd say probably about 75, maybe 70%. Which some people wait until it's almost to the top to change it. I like to go ahead and change it well before then, just to be on the safe side. I got a box that I put a Ziploc bag in just to put the old filter in. I use an old Rain-X jug to drain the fuel filter housing, and then optional, of course, I just use gloves. That way I don't get diesel fuel all over everything, especially if I'll be touching the camera and stuff. So anyway, I'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'm going to start by taking the cap off the top. I'm just going to set that over here, that way it don't fall down nowhere. Here's the fun part, is where can we put the camera, because I'm going to need to put stuff right here. Like, I'll put the O-rings and stuff like that right there. This is the stupid part about recording videos, is like, hey, I need to work and do something. Where can I put the camera? Fun. Alright, so take the old O-ring out. I'm going to put that in the Ziploc bag. Take the new O-ring, just snap it on. Alright. You ain't got to tighten it all the way. I just tighten it till it clicks, just because then you ain't got to worry about it. Hopefully you can see this. Anyway, several times of using just my hands, because I don't have my wrench. Oh, it's starting to move. There we go. Whew. All right, there we go. Got him. All right. So. What I'm going to do is, hopefully you can see that. You put this down, here's the old O-ring. I'm going to throw that in the bag. Take the new O-ring, put it on. There we go. Alright. Now, I'm just going to set that on top of the starter, out of the way. Get my super duper fancy box. This is one reason I drained the fuel filter housing completely, because whatever fuel comes out of the filter, there we go. All right, put it in the box, set it to the side. All right. Looks nice and clear in there. All right. So one thing I don't like, I've never Googled it or checked or anything on like why you leave this sleeve on, but it does say not to remove the sleeve. You would think it would like be better to remove it, but I guess not. Anyway, of course, there's only one way to really, well, I say there's one way to put it on, but anyway, never assume anything. But yeah, here's that'd be the outlet. Of course, fuel goes in here, comes out the center. So one thing too is, see, boom, popped out. But I mean, that can happen. But I noticed one of the last I see, it just pops right back in. But whatever old, like, I got my fuel filter changed somewhere where they were, whatever filters they were using, it didn't seal up like this. It was more like an O-ring. I think it was a Napa filter. I don't know, I could be wrong. Anyway, there's an O-ring down there, and they left it in my truck, and they also didn't change the O-rings because it was the old O-rings on here because they were eaten up where they reused them twice. And this is one of the main reasons that I changed my own fuel filter now, is because I don't fucking trust shops that much. And I would change, if I had a place to change my own oil, I would do that myself as well, because I don't trust people. Anyway, just screw it back on, do a hand tight. You kind of have to, just do a hand tight. You kind of have to put pressure pushing down on it as you're screwing it on, because there's a spring up here that pushes and puts pressure on your filter. And then we'll go ahead and take this off so that we can pour the fuel. That way we can pour the fuel from the fuel in the jug. From my Rain-X jug. And you can't really see it. Well, you're not going to be able to see it from that angle, but if I tilt the jug, like, you'll see water or sediment or whatever that was at the bottom of my fuel filter housing hanging out down there. And then you just pour some fuel back in here. You want to go slow, don't spill it all over the damn place like I have before. I tried using a what do you call it? A funnel one time. That was a horrible idea. The shop that used to change my fuel filter all the time and do all my PMs down in Jacksonville, the guy that worked in the shop, he's the one, because I watched him change it, and that's when he told me, he was like, use an old jug, like windshield washer fluid jug or something. Use an old windshield washer fluid jug to hold the diesel. That way it's a lot easier. You can see what comes out of it very easy, and then it makes it a lot easier pouring it back in. And there we go, got fuel filter changed. Alright, my air intake camera holder. There's another good reason to, if you can, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, this stuff kind of floating around in there in the bottom. That's another reason to pour it back into your fuel filter. I mean, yeah, the fuel filter housing. Pour it back in there very carefully, because you don't want that going in to your fuel filter. You don't want to put that stuff right back in where it came from. And if you have, like, I've had it before where I had about this much fuel left, because the fuel filter, it was almost completely full when I changed it. If you have like a bunch left, I mean, you can pour it back in your tank, but again, be very, very careful. Pour it slow, that way you don't get that water and debris, whatever the hell's in there, back in your tank. Crank it up. Blow a little bit of smoke. I let it sit overnight.